Okay, even though Mike K and I are in Mexico City ahead of the Mexico-US World Cup qualifier, I thought we needed to tap the brakes just for a second, even though we are doing some cool shit here. Right, Mike K? We're doing some cool shit?
Yeah, we're doing some cool shit.
That's it. Because that's what we do. I mean, it is pickup games for days. And the reason I wanted to tap the brakes is because I wanted to give some context around my European team of the season. I feel like I might have let myself down on a few of my selections. I don't know if I want to admit that, but I guess I am to a certain extent. But I also wanted to let you know that there's thought behind my selections. And my first thought was, I didn't want to have 23 players from the best 5 or 6 teams in Europe. That would have been boring, you know? I wanted to spread the love around. So let's start with the goalkeepers. In goal, I'm going with Gigi Buffon. The backup goalkeeper, however, is Manuel Neuer. So wait a second, did you guys push back on me on this? I think you did. You said, oh, what about Oblak? What about Courtois? What about Lloris? Listen, I mentioned Lloris, but I don't know if we can mention him anymore after his howler for France against Sweden yesterday, which is a real shame because no matter what he does for the rest of his career, he's always going to be known for this play. And that sucks. Anyway, let's hear from Mike K. Mike, what are your thoughts about my selections for goalkeeper Buffon and Manuel Neuer? Bring the chair back over. Let's chat.
So I would have to agree with him. I don't see how there's anybody else that would really be up for discussion. Yeah, Oblak had a good season. Courtois had a good season. If you really look at it, Bayern, 5 titles in a row. Juventus, 6 titles in a row. There's just consistency there, and it all starts with the leadership and just the ability of those 2 stoppers. I think you could argue that either one of them could start over one another, but you can't go wrong with either one of them in net. So I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Right. That's the best way to start working with me, is to agree with me on everything. It's great.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Yeah, thanks.
So I think we can all agree that those are the 2 best goalkeepers. So let's see what I had to say about the back 4. I'm gonna go with Real Madrid's Dani Carvajal. But center back, the pairing I'm going with is PSG's Thiago Silva and Bayern Munich's Mats Hummels. But left back, this one is pretty easy for me. It's Marcelo. What I love is that I gave Real Madrid both outside back positions, and you guys are like, what about Sergio Ramos? Listen, I think Sergio Ramos is a special player who lives for the big moments, who's fearless, and he's a great leader. I just didn't want to put another Real Madrid player in the back 4. That was my only thought behind it. But yes, okay, I should have mentioned Ramos and probably the 2 center backs for Juventus and probably put them on the list instead of Otamendi. And I knew that Otamendi was going to trigger you guys. He kind of triggered me putting him in there as well. But when I started doing some statistical research, Otamendi was like the top 3 or top 5 of all these sites. I couldn't believe it. And now I hate myself because I listened to the numbers. I got influenced by the statistics. And that's not me. That's not what I'm about. I'm a heart guy. I'm a heart on my sleeve type guy. And my heart also, though, has a soft spot for guys that didn't have a good season the season before and then prove people wrong this season, which is why I included Cavani and Dzeko as well, because they're like, listen, f you everybody, I'm gonna show you what I'm made of, and they did. And that's important to me. I like those guys. Maybe I was a guy like that too when I was a player, but that's a different conversation. Mike K, what do you think? Come over here. What do you think? Get back over here. Bring the chair. I don't know what you're doing there with the pump. Little weird.
I'm trying to get the ball pumped up.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean,
it's not like a metaphor for our time here. We gotta get pumped up for, no.
We could look at it that way.
Sure.
But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I would agree with your selection of Mats Hummels. I know some people didn't, but Otamendi, I kind of side with the commenters on that one. I think based off the argument that he was revitalized under a new system with Pep Guardiola, I think you could make the same argument for David Luiz.
Okay.
When Antonio Conte came in, brought back Luiz into the squad, and
controversially brought him back in. People are like, what? Yeah. Why would you pay that much money for him when he's as a PlayStation player, as Gary Neville once called him?
I don't think I heard that.
Oh yeah, he called him like a video, like he's more like a video game guy. He's all over the place.
He likes playing video games?
No, like you would control him. He's so all over the place that it's like you're controlling him as a video. Right. I'm not even saying that right.
I like FIFA. It was controversial that he brought David Luiz back in, but David Luiz said that he was motivated and he said there was unfinished business, and I think he really proved that. And not to mention Chelsea, minus the little patch at the end of the season, they pretty much ran away with the league. I know Tottenham put on the pressure, but I think David Luiz could be in that argument as well. Maybe not starting. I think, Sergio Ramos is a good shout, as always, but...
And Bonucci and Chiellini, yeah, of course.
I mean, the bald-headed beasts.
Oh my God, what did you just
just say. He's giving you this opportunity to give your analysis and you're ruining it. I don't know what that means.
I appreciate what you're saying. I think with Thiago Silva, I want to just give some love to the best defense in France, and then I wanted to give some love to Bayern. They're the best defense. Even though I did, I guess, with Manuel Neuer, and that's maybe why I didn't pick the center backs for Juventus, because I gave it to Buffon. Like, I was trying to just spread the love around, and I was just, and it was hard. It was hard. This is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Was very reassuring.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's talk about the midfielders. N'Golo Kante. And the two players playing off of Kante's shoulders are also from the Premier League, going for that whole chemistry thing. It's Tottenham's Christian Eriksen and Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne. First, I love Kante, okay? So enough of the Casemiro shouts. I'm not gonna budge on that one, but I am open to changing my mind on the other two selections. Like with Luka Modric, who I think is a fantastic player, and I never said otherwise. But when I went down the statistical rabbit hole, he wasn't there in the top 15 for midfielders in Europe based on these meaningful metrics. And I was like, how the f is that possible? So I just looked elsewhere for different guys. Also, I felt validated when EA released their La Liga team of the season and Modric was not in their top 23. So I got that link and I made it a comment and I pinned it on the last video, and you guys were like, you can't base your thoughts on a video game. Like, yes I can, because I did a show for EA called Fancy Footwork for months, and I know firsthand that they have a team in Europe that has an advanced algorithm that breaks down the value of a player. So if Modric isn't in their top 23, then I feel justified in leaving him off. That said, I probably didn't need to put Eriksen and De Bruyne in the starting lineup. Maybe just one of them, and maybe just Eriksen, because Spurs did have a very good season by Spurs' standards. But for the other spot, you could probably bring in Hazard or Neymar to start there instead. I know they probably look better on the wing in some capacity, but they could also play underneath and do some damage as well. You keep Kroos and Thiago on the bench. And now I'm just rambling. Mike K, what are your thoughts? Come over here. Bring the chair back. How's that ball? Is it got to be pumped up? Over pumped up, I think, at this point.
So first of all, I definitely agree with the De Bruyne inclusion in the starting lineup.
Oh, you like him there?
I do like De Bruyne. I would probably have to say Modric and De Bruyne in the middle.
So you're not buying into the stats thing that I didn't see or did see, like it just wasn't included, or even the EA La Liga team of the season?
I just think the fact that Modric just performed at the highest level. He won the Champions League, he won La Liga. He was just kind of that gear in the middle of the field that was just connecting, you know, from the back four and Casemiro to Isco and Ronaldo and Benzema up top. I think he was that linchpin that Real Madrid, and he did what was expected of him. So it's no surprise that he, you know, is up for discussion. It could be a shout for Dele Alli. I think he had a very good season. He's growing, as much as it pains me to say it, because I'm an Arsenal fan.
What?
I think everyone knows that by this point. If you don't, I'm an Arsenal fan. But yeah, I think Dele Alli is continuing to grow. I think what would keep him out of this team, you could include him on the bench possibly. You could even include him on a reserves if you did a 40-man roster.
Yeah, of course.
But I want to see how he performs at the European stage. You know, as Tottenham did not do too well in the Champions League. I think they will next season, depending on how things at Wembley go.
Well, maybe they'll be the new North London team that gets knocked out in the round of 16.
You could make the argument that De Bruyne and Eriksen are very similar players, and
that's why I said it, probably one or the other.
An assist is just as good as a goal, because it is a goal, essentially. It's, you know, it's a different type of stat, but
an important one.
It's an important one because that means someone is scoring. So if Eriksen is providing, maybe you would want someone alongside him who could do more scoring rather than providing, someone like Neymar or Hazard. But I do think that they are a little bit more effective out on the wings.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're probably more effective on the wings, but they're
dynamic.
They're dynamic, they're interchangeable, you know, and I think that's why I named a lot of guys up top. Now, speaking of guys up top, let's see what I said. I want a small, nimble finisher who is super quick and opportunistic, and this season, I think Mertens was better at that than Aguero and Sanchez, so Mertens is gonna be in my team. Edin Dzeko and Edinson Cavani, I thought, were a cut above the rest this season, and yes, I know that they miss easy chances quite often, but they always consistently find themselves in good spots to score, and that's not easy to teach. So it's really only one guy up top that we're talking about, because Messi and Ronaldo are no-brainers. And honestly, I'm happy with my selection of Dzeko because he had a great season and it flew under the radar just a bit, because you guys were like, what? But let's be honest, we could respectfully argue that Luis Suarez plays for a better team, so it's easier for him to achieve his numbers as opposed to Dzeko, who has to work harder for it. Right? 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 Mike K, true or false?
I'm gonna bring the ball this time. Be more efficient. True, like 2 chains. I would definitely agree with that. I also think, yes, I mean, Suarez has got just these big names behind him, providing him with all the goals. That's not to take anything away from his goal scoring prowess. He is just a poacher. He is tenacious. He'll use anything to score. I'm sure, I mean, he could use like, I don't know, bite the, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't, but keep going, it's funny.
Is it?
No, not really.
Okay. Yeah, no, Luis Suarez is, you know, he's a goal poacher, but if you really are trying to spread the love, I could definitely see why you would want Edin Dzeko in there. He always found himself in good positions and scored, and I mean, who does he have behind him? Kevin Strootman, Nainggolan, De Rossi?
Mohamed Salah.
Mohamed Salah, yeah, they're good providers as well, but obviously it's not Neymar, it's not Iniesta, it's not Messi, it's not Busquets. You could also argue that, you know, Cavani would be a good shout too, which I mentioned Cavani. And he had it's his best season so far, statistics-wise, correct?
That's right.
But I would definitely agree that Dzeko would be a good option up there. I mean, especially if you have the guys behind him like Modric and De Bruyne or Eriksen or whoever.
And that's part of the reason why I mixed it up a bit. You know, you try to bring some guys that were big that can bang with the 2 center backs, but also can be little. Dries Mertens, Sergio Aguero, Alexis Sanchez for sake of an example. Or, you know, you have other guys that are maybe providing some pace behind, which is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who I included as well. So there's a lot of options there, and it was hard to really pick a couple guys. We didn't talk about Coutinho as well. He was in my 23, and he could play underneath as well, and he's a provider and can score very similar to Kevin De Bruyne, right?
Yeah, I think a combination of Eriksen and Coutinho or Modric and Coutinho would be perfect, because I mean,
just think about these teams on paper. Yeah. You can't go wrong. We're really splitting hairs on a lot of these players.
Let's play all of them. 23 versus 11. They'd win, right?
No, I think they would win. Yeah. But
yeah.
I think
that's against the rules. You know, it'd be interesting if we split the team up and had them play against each other, like to compare the matchups. You know, like if you had Eriksen and Modric versus De Bruyne and.
It sounds like you want a all-star game. We have those here in Major League Soccer.
An all-star game would be fantastic, as long as there's not any halftime shows like the pregame show in the Champions League.
No way, the Black Eyed Peas were awesome.
They looked cool. They had cool clothes.
Well, I got a feeling that you need to stop talking now. I'm gonna finish this one off.
Is that a pun?
Yeah, it was.
All right, I'm gonna go. Pump up the ball.
Mike K, everybody. So in summation, yes, Luis Suarez should be in there. And yes, Harry Kane, who we didn't bring up, and I think you didn't bring him up because you're an Arsenal fan, Mike K, should be in there. And Sergio Ramos should be in there. And Luka Modric should be in there. And Bonucci and Chiellini and many others. But so do the guys that I selected, which is what makes this conversation so great. So thank you for your opinions and your comments and your insight. I love giving you guys a voice to speak and be heard. Also, we will see you when we get back. But know that we are vlogging this whole experience, and it's gonna be awesome, and it's gonna be dropping next week, and Let's Go USA and later.